This is CBC Vancouver News.
Snow-grounded planes, trapped passengers, icy roads, broken down buses, frozen SkyTrain doors and delayed ferries. Just some of the headaches thrown on some people across the South Coast as they woke up to a lot of snow today. And there's no sign of a let-up. Environment Canada has maintained Arctic outflow warnings for Metro Vancouver and the Fraser Valley. Good evening, I'm Zahra Premji. Thanks for being with us tonight. We begin our team coverage at YVR, where the snow and cold have wreaked havoc on passengers, crew, and staff. Flights were delayed and outright canceled all day, leaving many with no idea if or when they will get to their next destination. WestJet saying 210 cancellations today alone, affecting people all over the country. The CBC's John Hernandez was at the airport all day and begins our coverage.
At Vancouver International Airport, a travel nightmare.
We got here and it was absolute chaos. The lineups were already so very long.
Flight after flight canceled, some passengers stuck here for days.
So we've gone on the actual plane multiple times, and then we've sat on the tarmac for maybe 6 to 8 hours and then redirected back to the gate and have to do it all over again the next day.
It started with a blitz of cold and snow on Sunday, forcing widespread flight delays and cancellations. Then more snow on Monday night into Tuesday morning that grounded every plane here.
We didn't realize it would be this bad. So you start off just accepting it, and then you get more and more frustrated, and then you get more and more tired.
This couple from New Zealand was stuck on the tarmac for 13 hours with their 1-year-old, watching as their supply of baby formula dwindled.
We would have had enough for a bit of a stoppage or delay, but for how long we were on there and how much we were having to give him to try to keep him from screaming. Yeah, we ran through it quickly.
At baggage claim, a sea of abandoned luggage. Others wait for suitcases that never come.
Inside of my suitcase personally, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat. All my Christmas gifts, my family and everything, right? So it's tragic to leave that.
The situation made more dire by earlier snowstorms in central Canada, which had already backed up flights across the country.
That basically meant that many of these airlines had aircraft stuck in the wrong airports.
And now there likely won't be enough seats to go around for the thousands stranded.
It's going to make it extremely difficult and virtually impossible for people who have delayed or canceled flights at this point in time. The chances of them getting to their destination from Vancouver anywhere east is very slim.
Passengers are urged to be patient. The airport says the number of flight cancellations on Tuesday was unprecedented, although a number of flights did actually make it into the air. People that do plan on traveling in the coming days are asked to keep tabs on their flights because more delays and cancellations are expected in the days ahead. John Hernandez, CBC News, Richmond.
Delayed SkyTrains and buses added to the commuter chaos as Metro Vancouver struggled to deal with this mass dump of snow. This particular dump ranged from 20 to 30 centimeters in some places, according to Environment Canada. Mira Baines reports on the impact and what could be next.
With up to a foot of snow across parts of Metro Vancouver, clearing efforts couldn't keep up. Bus and SkyTrain commuters faced major delays. What's normally a 15-minute trip took much longer.
For 2 hours, almost 2 hours. I didn't expect so much snow because everybody talks about the good weather from Vancouver. It's not like Winnipeg, it's not like Toronto, it's not like Montreal.
It's been a couple hours.
The heavy snowfall is considered a rare event for the South Coast, but more freezing temperatures are to come.
With that, we're going to experience some very chilly wind chills the next 2 mornings, down below -20, in fact.
And that means more challenges keeping transit moving. TransLink says staff have been busy trying to keep snow and ice away.
We've been positioning staff at key stations with de-icer fluid and hockey sticks to clear snow from the doors, as well as to defrost any doors that have ice buildup.
Taxi drivers were delayed getting to work and slammed with calls when they did make it, with customers waiting.
In the morning, we had over 400 passengers that called in waiting.
The bitter cold and snow is especially difficult for people without permanent homes, including encampments on the downtown east side.
Once you get wet, the cold and the frostbite and a little bit of wind chill, you get frostbite very quickly.
The city of Vancouver says it was prepared, even as side streets were clogged.
Our focus is really right after the snowfall is getting those major routes cleared. So our major roads and bridges, our pedestrian pathways, the 4 key pathways that we do, access roads to hospitals.
Still, Environment Canada is monitoring another possible punch of winter before the end of the week.
Do want to caution that we are tracking a system for Thursday night into Friday. This could bring some very hazardous conditions on the traveling routes.
He says it's unclear if it will bring more snow or freezing rain as temperatures begin to warm up. BC Ferries has also issued a warning about those Arctic outflows, saying they could affect ferry service tomorrow. Mira Baines, CBC News, Vancouver.
Now, all parts of the island spent much of the day digging out as well. Many found themselves buried under 30 centimeters of snow that fell overnight. But as Claire Palmer reports from Nanaimo, some made the most out of it, the little outdoor fun they had.
It's no easy going in Nanaimo as the second winter storm of the season blows in. Environment Canada says up to a foot of snow fell overnight in some areas. Across Vancouver Island, BC Ferries, local transit, and the Victoria Airport all faced cancellations. While some may find the snow a nuisance, others are choosing to stay positive.
I'm cleaning the snow, lots of fun. I love it. Now I start from 7 o'clock here. I do my breakfast, good breakfast. Wife, she's make a good breakfast. Now I have a lunch. Life is good for everyone. Just come outside, enjoy the weather, enjoy the snow. Just on a winter we have snow.
With kids on winter break, many are taking advantage of the prime sledding conditions. Nanaimo's Bowen Park is a big draw for siblings Jasper and Will.
Just sledding and donut in the truck. It's fun, you should try it. It's fun. Did you say it's fun? Fun.
People of all ages have gotten in on the outdoor activities, including jolly old St. Nick. More snow is in the forecast for Nanaimo, but by the weekend, it's set to shift to rain. Claire Palmer, CBC News, Nanaimo.
Meanwhile, the slippery roads and snow-covered sidewalks continue to hit seniors hard across the Lower Mainland. As Janella Hamilton reports, some of the province's most vulnerable are opting to stay at home for fear of getting injured outdoors.
It can be very frightening for people, older people. And if you're unsteady on your feet to start with, that's even worse.
Every day, 80-year-old Lorna Clone walks outside for exercise. But today, she's opted to stay indoors for fear she may slip and fall on the icy sidewalks.
Well, one can break a hip. One can, that's the main thing is injuring yourself and having to go to the hospital.
Clone, who is still recovering from heart bypass surgery, says she is unable to shovel snow, but is fortunate to have friends who offer to help her out on snowy days.
When you feel independent, and you've always been independent, it's hard to give that up and to actually reach out and ask for help.
89-year-old Marilyn Dyer relies on a home care nurse every morning to test her heart and give her medication. Today, her care provider was not able to make it to her home due to the snow. Dyer, who is also legally blind, depends on a cane, which she says is not usable in the snow.
You go out there and the rubber on the bottom gets wet, it'll slip. So right now, I'm staying in until I see a bit of sidewalk out there.
Clone says there are many seniors like her who live in South Surrey and are isolated inside their homes during heavy snowfall.
Well, I have a friend who's very difficult for her to get out of her house because it's on a hill.
And even programs that provide outreach to the most vulnerable are halted by the weather.
As you can see, we have gift baskets here that we prepared yesterday and that volunteers were going to pick up today and distribute to the vulnerable adults in the community. So that's going to have to wait a little bit.
And it's not just the aging population that experiences isolation during the winter.
Especially for people with dementia, it can be very confusing because their routine is broken and they rely on routine.
Dyer says no matter your age or ability, with extreme weather events becoming more common with climate change, planning ahead is key.
I always have a little extra water on hand. I always have a little extra food on hand, and I have my medication that's there for a couple of days.
Dyer is reminding people to check in on their loved ones this winter season. Janella Hamilton, CBC News, South Surrey.
Well, it was first thought the snow would stick around for just a few days, but the forecast has shifted ever so slightly. As CBC meteorologist Johanna Wagstaff explains, last night's snow has increased our region's chances of a white Christmas.
Here in North Vancouver, we saw about 25, maybe even 30 fresh centimeters of snow. This is our second big snowfall of the week. This is an incredible amount of snow for Vancouver, and we saw about 30 centimeters plus in Victoria, 30 centimeters for Coquitlam, lots of closures, SFU campus and exams completely shut down, cars jackknifing. You do not want to be out on the roads at all, but especially if you don't have snow tires. This might be the biggest snowfall since 2008 for much of the south coast, particularly Victoria. We just have this big Arctic air mass in place. Any system that moves in from the Pacific, this is going to fall as snow, and that's exactly what happened. We are looking at another snowfall for Thursday before possibly changing over to rain as we head into Christmas Eve. But with this kind of snow on the ground, even with rain and temperatures above zero, I bet we're looking at a white Christmas. But get ready for icy conditions with temperatures continuing to stay below freezing for the next couple of days. Yeah, we have La Nina really to blame for this. This is our third La Nina winter. We had an incredibly snowy winter and Christmas season last year, and it is just wild how La Nina really lines up to cold and snowy sometimes on the west coast. It's definitely a Bernie's Mountain Dog kind of day. Johanna Wagstaff, CBC News, North Vancouver.
And as a Bernese Mountain Dog will tell you, the blast of winter isn't chaos for all. For some, it means less work and more play. CBC's Benit Brach caught up with those having fun in the snow, skiing, sledding, and making snow angels.
This snow-struck day couldn't come at a better time for 12-year-old Callie.
I was so excited. I couldn't wait to go play in it.
Hey, here they go!
You don't know, sometimes you'll fall over, or sometimes you'll go super fast and then like face plant in the snow. It's just so much fun.
And her Nona is joining in on the fun. The family enjoying heaps of fresh snowfall on Mount Seymour.
We're well over a meter of snow at the base and we're approaching 2 meters at the top. For mid-December, it is phenomenal. We're seeing a lot of people out just enjoying the fresh snow and the dry snow. Lots of kids in lessons today.
All good news for those keen on hitting the slopes and hills. What do you like about skiing?
Powder.
Meanwhile, at local parks, the little ones are sliding and gliding away, like here at Kensington Park.
4, 3, 2, 1!
What's your favorite part of this?
The bumps. The runs are so good and you could really just feel it.
When you go down the hill, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that I'm flying.
His dad even made him a bump and outlined it with
hot chocolate.
And why did that help you?
Because Dad put it on so I can see the jump.
Some areas of Vancouver Island and the Lower Mainland received up to 30 centimeters of snow overnight. And for some of those snowed in, family fun was a short walk away.
Being able to spend a lot of good quality time with family, it's good. You know, we really appreciate it.
For some, Snow Day is about making snow angels. Laughter and giggles, a clear sign that for some, especially the little ones, fresh powder has simply meant taking time for more fun. Benit Brach, CBC News, Vancouver.
A year spent dealing with the aftermath of multiple disasters and changing government leadership. BC Green Party leader Sonia Furstenau looks back on the year in BC politics and what's ahead. Stay with us. Thanks for watching our commercial-free live stream tonight. Now we return to our main story tonight. Heaps of blowing snow, of course, and unusually frigid temperatures have swept the lower mainland and Vancouver Island. The weather has led to mass cancellations at YVR, leaving the terminals filled with exhausted and frustrated passengers.
Flight was to leave at 5, and then they started delaying it and kept delaying it. So it came to be about 7:40, and they said, okay, we're going to go. So they started loading us onto the plane. So we finally got on. Then we were delayed on the plane just at the gate for about an hour and a bit, I think.
Yes.
And then they said, oh, we think we have a window. So we went out to the de-icing station, and they de-iced the plane, and that was as far as we ever got. They said, no, it's too much snow now, we can't go. And we just sat there until 7:40 this morning.
I got a ticket for just after 1 to leave tomorrow, so I have to stay here all night again. That'll be night number 2.
We're trying to go on a vacation to Cabo San Lucas, but all our flights are canceled. Now we're trying to get an Uber to take us over to a hotel, which seems to be a little hard.
It's unreal, and you know, this is our first time here to Canada, and I guess maybe you know, naively thinking that you know, you guys were here in Canada used to snow, but I was told that you know, it came on very, very sudden and quick, and it's Mother Nature at its best.
That's okay. You help.
Careful here.
The BC Greens say they are on track to a record-breaking year for fundraising. The party hopes to attract new members and has put out a call for candidate nominations in case a snap election is called. Our provincial affairs reporter Mira Bain sat down with BC Green Party leader Sonia Furstenau to review 2022 and look to the new year.
How would you describe the last year as the leader of the Greens?
I think what we're seeing generally is that the kind of governing we need in these times of all of these crises, whether it's climate, weather-related event crises, or it's the ongoing pandemic, or as we're seeing, you know, a flu surge right now, we need governments to get out in front of this. We need governments to be a lot more proactive. And what we've had from this government in particular is often waiting until things are really in an emergency and then responding. So whether that was the wildfires in 2021, the atmospheric river a year ago, and this year I would say a kind of just letting go of efforts to manage the pandemic.
We also had the BC NDP leadership race, and there were some accusations that the Greens were trying to take over the NDP and some Green members were becoming members of the NDP so they could vote in the leadership race. I'm just wondering, what do you say to those accusations?
It's laughable. It's truly laughable. I mean, Adam and I have been working as a caucus to hold this government to account and to present a vision for British Columbia that we have. In a leadership race, in an election campaign, your job is to inspire people to want to join you. And when I was running a leadership race in 2020, I was encouraging NDP members to come and join our party, to get excited about what we were offering. That's how politics works in a democracy. Nobody owns anybody else's members or memberships or anything like that. We've seen a pretty significant bump in memberships and donations in the last couple of months as people, I think, come to terms with the NDP clearly isn't wanting to go in the direction of having a climate leader in the Premier's office, of having an equity-based approach to governing in this province, and what we're getting mostly is kind of a status quo. That the NDP have not only really not met their promises, but they have increased subsidies to oil and gas, they have increased oil and gas activity and infrastructure under their tenure. They have not kept their promise on ending the logging of old growth. They have not kept their promise on really being climate leaders.
Before we look at the year that was, I want to ask you about a possible snap election. Do you feel that that's something that could be coming?
I have had assurance from the Premier that there is no plan for a snap election, and I hope that he's true to his word. We have election legislation, fixed date legislation, but we're not going to be unprepared if that is the case. And so we have opened nominations for the BC Green candidates, and we are preparing for an election, hopefully in 2 years from now, but if it is happening sooner, we will be ready. I have no control over whether they throw an election or not, but what I think British Columbians need from this government is governing.
How does the Green Party attract those young people, all those people that were so interested in this BC NDP leadership race and trying to get behind this climate activist?
We need more BC Greens in the legislature. We have pushed this government on ending oil subsidies, on ending old growth logging. We've pushed this government on ending corporatization of healthcare. We've pushed this government on focusing on non-market housing as a solution to our housing crisis in BC. Two Greens have been the voices on these issues over and over again. With more Greens, we can have even more outcomes that are focused on people and a healthier future for this province.
All right, here is a live shot of Whistler Olympic Plaza. So beautiful. Kuljeet Kaila will have your full forecast next.
It rains an awful lot in Vancouver, but it doesn't snow very often. In fact, last year there was no snow at all. So when it snowed this morning, people just really weren't prepared for it. Karen Webb reports.
Vancouverites like to dream about a white Christmas, but they know very well they didn't mean it when that dream comes true. In almost any other city in Canada, 10 centimeters of snow is no problem. Rather routine, in fact. But in Vancouver, it's just frustration on the freeway. This is the city where windshield wipers are supposed to be for rain, not snow. There are advantages, of course, the unexpected side effects that come from coping with adversity. It's a great way to meet new people. It's a chance to travel some unfamiliar trails. And for some, the snow provided that little bit of incentive to take up the abandoned exercise program. Others learned about the real meaning of patience. A good place to learn about that was the airport, where the flights that weren't canceled were delayed. The snow on Vancouver's Dome Stadium also created one of Canada's unique jobs. Up there on the roof of BC Place, nope, not mountain climbers, roof washers. The weight of the snow was just too heavy for all that hot air inside, holding up the dome. Only in Vancouver, you say? Karen Webb, CBC News, Vancouver.
You got it, dude.
Land Back is a CBC original podcast where we uncover land theft in Canada and look at how Indigenous people are taking it all back. Land Back is out now on CBC Listen or wherever you get your podcasts.
The weather update is brought to you by Direct Buy Furnace, installing the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train.
All right, well, it's that time of night now. Let's check out what's happening in the world of BC weather with our weather specialist, Kuljeet Kaila. Kuljeet, it looks like another snowmageddon, or maybe everyone just forgot their snow tires again. I don't know.
It's happened twice this week, and there's a chance it could happen one more time before the week is through. Not only that, the other big story is this cold Arctic front that's sweeping across BC, bringing frigid cold temperatures right across the province, including here. So we're going to be sitting way below seasonal. So if it's colder out there, there's a good reason why. So you want to have all the essentials like the toque, the gloves that I forgot earlier today. For the next several days, this cold front is going to land right on the south coast, bringing temperatures into the minus overnight. Lows are going to be just massive, and over the next few days we're going to see that across the province. Starts off at minus 22 for Williams Lake, and in a few days it'll be back to zero. So in a few days things will return back to normal in terms of temperatures, but until then, overnight tonight, look at this, minus 21 in Vancouver with the wind chill, minus 25 in Abbotsford. Kamloops is going to be at minus 38 with the wind chill overnight. So this cold snap is across BC. You really want to stay warm and bundled up. Sunshine tomorrow in Prince George, but minus 28 with the wind chill. Up in Dease Lake, mostly sunny skies and minus 35, minus 32 in Williams Lake, and Port Hardy minus 4 degrees tomorrow. And some notes that you need to know, as I was mentioning today, minus 6, the average for this time of year is more like 6 degrees. Arctic front will bring minus 20 temperatures to Metro Vancouver, minus 25 for the Fraser Valley, and there's an 80% chance we are going to see some more snow starting Thursday afternoon, possibly into Friday, and then we're going to see rainy conditions after that into the weekend and early next week. So things will get warmer again, and the snow will come one more time, I'm expecting, by the end of this week.
Hey, you know, I never say no to snow, but that minus 20 really stood out. I'm excited for it. Thank you, Kuljeet.
You're welcome.
And that's your late news for this Tuesday. And what a Tuesday it was. It may not be dumping snow tonight, but it's icy out there. So stay safe. And remember, as my mom always tells me, and I'll tell you, pack your patience. You're going to need it for the rest of the week and maybe the rest of the season. I'll see you back here tomorrow night. Have a great night.